Today I'll be explaining how I do gesso. Everybody does it differently. This is the way that I do it, and I've found it's the best way. I've decided to do this paint by numbers. This was a prize I got given by Painting by Numbers Factory. I tend to use a lot of them because the paints seem to be pretty good. They're not lumpy and stuff like that. That comes with the paint pots. I sort of cut out a little picture so that it's sort of like a reference, but that's basically what the painting will eventually look like. Generally comes in a roll. The gessoing is sort of three processes. This process, which is applying the gesso, then you have to sort of wait for it to dry, and then we sand it off. The third is we place it on a canvas ready for painting. I tend to use the easel, paint my numbers. All right, so the first stage is we put some pins. My gesso. Make sure it's always clear, because I've sort of read that a lot of people get caught and get the white one and then it covers all your numbers up. So then give it a good old shake. I usually use this one, the clear texture gesso premium, the Montmarte. It's the best value, and in the beginning I tend to sort of water it down a little. And we place it in elbow. Okay, and I use a generally wide gesso brush. This is another Montmarte one. I tend to use a lot of their products. I guess because they're economical, and you know they're pretty good too. Okay, so and then we generally just apply quite a thick layer, because I used to do two, but I just thought it was a bit of a waste of time. So I only do one, but a thicker one. I mean, some people don't use the gesso, but I found it does help with the paint to adhere to the canvas, and also fills in the holes, so it's not, the paint isn't so patchy. And what I'll tend to do is just go back on the opposite direction, and that's about it. So now it needs to dry fully, and then we'll start the next process. This is the next and last stage. The gesso's dried on the actual canvas, so now lightly sand it with a 180 grit. I've been told it's a 180 grit sandpaper. So just lightly, like I just tend to do a very light one. You can sort of see it's very powder, and so we just lightly brush it off. So now I take the pins out. I've got my canvas here. It's a 16 by 20, just matches what we've got with the canvas. Just try to make it as even as possible. You just fold it around the canvas and get your bulldog clip, and just place it sort of generally anywhere, but you know, one on each side. I generally leave these up because, you know, I don't know, I just think that they might put some pressure on your canvas, and you just tend to move them around. Ready to start the painting process, and I'll just put this on my easel. I've got a tabletop easel. We'll begin painting. That'll be on the next snippet I do.